up, everybody? This truck's beat too much. Where I'm dropping this off to? 2081. So I'm back, man. I had a private jet flying kind of low. I'm back, and yeah, I had to take some time off from YouTube, and it wasn't because of you guys. It had nothing to do with you guys. It was really just my son got into a little brawl at school, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't nothing going on at school. He ended up getting suspended for the fight he had a fight on the bus, and I made him ride with me to figure out what was going on. And he was telling me the story before the school actually called me and told me the story. So, I wanted to pick his brain and just be like, hey, let him know. Don't lie to me. Tell me straight up, what happened at school. So he told him, they were debating about some football players or something, kid stuff. And the kid got angry and punched him. And he punched him back. I said, and if that's the story, you won't be in trouble. As long as, you didn't put your hands on somebody first. I'm dropping this in 2081. They want me to drop this in a random spot. There's nothing here. Here's 2081. But the school finally did call, and he didn't lie. They showed me the video. The kid did hit him first, but because of Texas rules, what they told me, doesn't matter who started it. Both parties that were involved both get suspended, which I think is stupid, but hey, what can I do? So he rode with me on the truck for a couple days until he was allowed to go back to school. And yeah, I got a chance to deal with that. But the other thing was, the whole time he was out here, you guys were like pretty much asking, I got a lot of comments pretty much asking me the same thing. And I just wanted to give my insight on that. And a lot of you guys were asking me, hey, is leasing a truck even worth it? And some days I would tell you no. Some days I would say, hey, yes, but I'm gonna just give you my insight and how I feel, my perspective of exactly, and tell you guys what exactly do I think about it. And I feel like this camera's off. Oh, there we go. It's like not angled right, but my perspective and how I see it, I think, let's unhook and talk about this, because I got another trailer to pick up and I don't want to miss my son's game. So my perspective would be, I would say, look, if you go work for a company, right, and you go work every single week, sure, you don't have as much responsibility, but say you give that company 2 years. If you give a company 2 years out of your work, out of yourself, you probably bring home on average $1,200 a week, maybe something like that. And you're still away from home, you're still on the road. Now granted, you can walk away anytime you want, but 9 times out of 10 you're walking away to go to another company. And the way I seen it was, even with me doing exactly the same thing I was doing for a company, and I'm doing it here as a lease, of course, yeah, I gotta pick my own loads, and I gotta, manage my fuel, stuff like that. Of course, that's a given. But what it all boils down to is I don't have to pull my fifth wheel with my truck because it has I got the automatic one in the truck. Got a button. But what it all boils down to is, at the end of the day, man, if I put the same effort I put in at a company and I put it in for myself, the reward is way higher at the end. At the end, when you're done with the company, you walk away with absolutely nothing. At least here, the same work I'm putting in for a company, I can walk away with a truck. Even if I don't run the truck. Even if I just sell the truck. I sell the truck, whatever I decide to do with it at the end. If I gave 2 years to a company and I walked away, I walk away with absolutely nothing. 2 years, I walk away with the truck. Even if I want nothing to do with trucking anymore, I walk away with a truck. I sell the truck, give me $45,000. And I still end up, winning at the end. And that's kind of how I was looking at it. Now, is leasing for everybody? It got to beep a lot. Is leasing for everybody? Absolutely not. I would not say it's for everybody. A lot of people don't understand, the logistics aspect of trucking. I'm picking up in 2042. So that's one thing I had to keep in mind. And that's primarily what took me so long to go into leasing a truck. Is I wanted to know as much about the industry as I could. And I worked in warehouse. I was a supervisor of a warehouse. I worked in safety. I worked as a recruiter. I've worked as an orientation instructor. I worked as a driver trainer and instructor to help people get their CDLs. I worked as a driver trainer in the truck with another driver in my truck on the road. What was that? 2042? I got dyslexic, man. 2042. All right, here, that's mine. So, yeah, I've had a chance to pretty much see every aspect of it. Now, granted, there's some more that I didn't see, but I got to see a lot of it. And some of the stuff that you'll see on the office end, on the corporate end, will surprise you. And then some of the things for the corporate people, they have no clue what it's like to be a driver. So I can see both sides where there's always heads button when it comes to dispatchers and drivers. Because, I got a chance to work both ends. So a lot of times when I worked in the office, I had to explain a lot of times to the other dispatchers or people in the office or even safety, look, a driver did this because of this, or this happened because of this. From a driver's perspective, a lot of them don't know. So, and, I wanted to throw this out there, man. Guys, when you're dealing with safety and they call your phone and you're on the road and maybe you did something wrong, or maybe you were tailgating or speeding or whatever the case may have been, when safety calls you, don't cuss them out. Don't argue with them. You got to understand, it is their job. They wake up in the morning, they get out of their bed, they drive to work, they walk in the office. Their job is they have a bunch of videos that pop up that they have to review, and they have to make so many phone calls a day to call these drivers. When I worked in safety, I would start my conversation off with this. Hey, listen, I'm calling you because I have to. I'm just giving you the real. This is what happened. This is what could be the consequences at the end. But I'm just giving you a heads up. You can take whatever you want with that information and do whatever you want with it. But there's some drivers that will be like, hey, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I was actually one of the people working in safety that I was a driver before, so I know. So I would sit there and I would listen to some of them, and I would just have to tell them, even in my orientation, because I worked orientation and safety at the same time. So after orientation, I had to go work safety, and because we only had like 3 days of orientation, so the rest of the week I was working safety and recruiting. And I would have to call these drivers, and I would tell them in orientation, if you ever get a phone call from me, it's me giving you a heads up. I'm just giving you fair warning. And drivers would still lash out. And I had a driver this week call me and tell me that he got called from safety and he lashed out. And I was just telling him, like, man, that's just his job. The easiest way to deal with safety when they call, listen. Okay, sir, you're 100% correct. I apologize. I'll work on fixing it. And that call ends like that. Safety gets so shocked when they hear that. We don't know what to say. because we're anticipating you arguing with us. And well, when I was safety, we were anticipating it. But when a driver was like, I apologize, man, I got you, man, I'll make sure I fix that. Oh, thank you. We forget about you because we'll hang up and we got to go back to the other person, the one that was arguing with us. Those arguments we remember. The ones that we get off the phone quick with, I apologize. Oh, I'll hang up and like, oh, well, he's all good. I'll clear him off my list. He's actually not on my radar anymore. But I just want to throw that in there. But back to leasing while I'm hooking up. So that was one of the aspects I looked at when it came to leasing was, yeah, I wanted a reward at the end of my hard work. So I started looking for a company that I wanted to lease from. And yeah, the last company that I chose was not the best company, like I said, because I don't like someone picking my loads for me. I didn't know I didn't like that at the time when I went into leasing. It was later when I started leasing, I found out. And I had to find out the hard way. Because those dispatchers that sit in those offices, they come to work. A lot of them put their emotions into the job. And say someone sent me a load and it was a terrible load. They knew it was a terrible load. And I would call in and be like, hey, why'd you send this load? Sometimes I would ask because a dispatcher may have sent me that load to get me to a better load. So I would ask, hey, why'd you send this one? If it just looked like it was just, if it was like far, if you're gonna get me to a better load, make it a short load. Because I don't want to be on this terrible load for 2 days. But sometimes they would send me a terrible load that was going from Georgia to Minnesota or something like that. And I would call and ask. And when I would ask, they would get an attitude. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want this load. And once you decline a load, and like I said, dispatchers put their emotions into the job. Once I declined a load, it was like, oh, you want to decline a load? Watch this. And then they would just screw me over week after week after week, trying to drive my business into the ground. And yes, it's illegal. It got to the point that I had to threaten to take legal action because it's illegal. It's called management retaliation. You can sue for that. So I shot them a letter. And they called me back and they changed my dispatcher and I didn't hear from that guy again. But it got to a big thing. They called. At first they tried to call like aggressively. Hey, don't be waving around management retaliation. Like they were saying like I was just throwing around allegations. Like, it's not allegations. This is what happened. I explained to them what happened. This is what's going on. And once I have the proof, the back, what I was saying, it was no longer allegations. It was let's see how we can fix this. But that's one reason why I didn't want to do that again. And now I like being able to pick my own loads. I like being able to choose when I go home. Like right now I'm getting ready to go to my son's game and stuff like that. But at the end all be all, the main reason what made me choose this, after learning the industry as much as possible, was I wanted to be able at the end to see the reward for my hard work. And even if I only make $1,200 a week as a lease driver, and I made $1,200 a week as a company, after about a year, 2 years, however long your lease is, at the end of it, you get to walk away with your own truck. And when you have your own truck, man, the money is different. Money gets real different. It's different than what you've ever seen, what I've ever seen, even as a lease driver. I can actually get a taste of it because I get to see what I would have made in my, in my gross. But after all the deductions come out, because I'm still leasing, it's like, wow, this is what I could have made. So it opened my eyes to see what I could be making if I stick this out, if I just finish this. And there's days I'm in this truck where I want to just take it back and give it up. And there's days in this truck I'm like, I'm so happy I did this. But I've always been the one to, like, if you're gonna do something, man, do it right. And that's another reason why I took off a week. I took off a week because I envisioned what I wanted the channel to look like. And of course, I didn't even get all my cameras. You guys will see that I got more angles now for you guys, and I got more cameras, but they delivered my stuff to the wrong house, and I had to argue with them down because these cameras aren't cheap, and we trying to figure out where they are. So they allowed me to go pick up one from a nearby store, but the rest they said I had to wait for them to come. So I got one extra camera. I'm still waiting on 2 more. So you guys are gonna have like the most in-depth, this will be the most in-depth channel when it comes to trucking, because you guys will get every aspect, every angle. These cameras record up to 11 hours of just straight footage. So every single day you guys will get every single day of my trucking experience. And it makes it so much easier for me because I don't have to sit there and go to each camera and do this and that and do that. I got these cameras come with a remote. I hit the remote one time, they all turn on once I start my shift, and you guys can just ride with me. And that's what I wanted to bring to you guys today. Is leasing worth it? It really depends on where you're at in your trucking career, and it really depends on where you want to go. And I know for me, I know where I wanted to take my trucking career. I know it took me a lot longer than some others. Some others are, got different things going on in their lives, or may have had the money saved up, or may have not had a credit issue. There's everyone's going through different paths and different journeys, and the way you get there doesn't matter. It just matters that you got there. So, you guys are here, man. If you're not following the channel, man, follow the channel. Definitely hit the like, and yeah, man, keep up with me as I go on this journey with you guys, man. Till next time. I'm wrapping up this trailer. I got to get home and go watch my son get ran over. Hopefully he do good today, but I'm going.